also the Immortal, which is the one that was chosen as the winner for our competition. Can you tell us a little bit about that piece?
Sure. It's based on a poem by Marjorie Pickthall, who's Canadian. The first time I read it, it almost struck me as just one of these old-fashioned, odes to abstract beauty. But I came back to it a few times and realized there's a lot in there, both message-wise and obviously imagery-wise, to work with musically.
So what were some of those images that jumped out at you from the poem?
Well, I really loved the contrast between the images. At the beginning, I'm trying to think. At the beginning, it's pretty bleak, right? Like when there's no more of these things, like when the last night has ended. It's almost apocalyptic. And then there's sort of this transcendent imagery at the end of, it's almost this sense of, reawakening of this dead land, sort of coming to life again.
Which is one of the reasons why it happens to fit so beautifully with the theme of this concert, because we're doing our concert and it's about reincarnations or reawakenings, or how you can turn a really awful situation. How do you find hope in the midst of that? So I think that's
absolutely
really cool.
And in my program notes, I said something about it, how it could be seen as, a metaphor for the arts, or really for anything that an individual can fall back on in difficult times, that gives us that reason to keep pushing through, so that we have that transcendence at the end. For me, that would be the arts. I think maybe for Marjorie Pickthall, it might have been religion or nature, but yeah.
That's exciting. As a composer, what are the kinds of things that inspire you?
That is a wonderful question. As I mentioned before, I was originally, interested in being a film composer. And even when I write choral music, I may have said this before as well, often it's the atmosphere of the words and the story they tell, or I guess the transformation that happens across the course of a poem that really draws me in and sort of tips me off that this poem will be really conducive to writing.
So is that where you usually start? Is you start with a piece of text and then that's what drives your composition? Or do you have an idea and then you go searching for text? How does that work for you?
In vocal music, yes, I tend to start with the text. In instrumental music, I usually start with an image in mind, or maybe I've read a novel that resonates with me that, I think has a plot that could sort of lend itself to music. So really, in a way, they're very similar. I always take a story as a starting point.
So that pre-existing story, and then you want to add the...
Yep, and then when working with words, after that, I always start with the melody.
Okay.
I think it's like a lot of people who don't even realize they're composers at heart.
Okay.
You have these words and maybe you start singing them to yourself in the shower or on a walk or something. And, then I sort of begin to latch on to, little melodic fragments that I really like.
Okay.
And sort of use those as the building blocks of the composition. I think it's a pretty traditional process.